So, you want to do more productive stuff. You want to start exercising. You want to start reading. You want to start being more productive. Well, this video could help you achieve those goals. So, okay, let's start. Let's talk about books. If you want to start reading more books, this is what you do. You don't focus on making book reading a habit. You instead need to focus on making it a part of who you are, a part of your identity. When you try to make a habit, what you're really trying to do is to convince yourself that this is who you are. But if you never make that connection, your habit building efforts will be in vain. You make something a part of your identity first, and then everything you do after that is simply reinforcing that notion in your mind. The one tangible thing you get from reading books is being known as a book reader, which will enhance your self-esteem, which is important. A strong self-esteem fuels endeavors. It gives you license to actually do productive stuff because it's who you are, and there's no shame in trying to do it. You're not trying to change who you are. You are self-improvement. You are already a book reader, so you don't need to read to convince yourself or anyone that you are a book reader. So therefore it becomes easier to read books and to work out and to do stuff because that is who you are. Once you see yourself as a book reader, reading will become more fun because only then are you free from the urgency to make it a habit, for it is already intrinsically a part of who you are. All the pressure to read is removed, and you're permitted to simply seek pleasure from books and not trying to use them to convince yourself that you are able to read books. You simply read books. You need to carry yourself with dignity. And this is very important because if you do not see yourself as someone who is worthy of the title book reader, then you'll never actually get the satisfaction that comes from reading. It's not just the immediate satisfaction you get from like, oh wow, I didn't know that. Or maybe, cool, I read this whole paragraph, it made sense. But the after effects too, very important. You have to feel dignified that you are a reader. So you need to have a healthy sense of self and a healthy self-esteem. So that we've already explained how that is important for reading books, but you also need to strengthen your self-esteem, cultivate a sense of self through other avenues that are not related to reading, but will help you form that sense of identity around reading, if that makes any sense. So, for instance, you could say, I work out, I keep my body in check, I eat healthy, I socialize, I get enough sleep, I am healthy. And if you incorporate reading into that formula, then it simply complements reading because you're already healthy and you recognize reading is simply another healthy facet of your life. A healthy facet in opposition to what would otherwise be just this annoying little chip on your shoulder that you have to prove that you're worthy, which is unhealthy, feeling inadequate. So if you're already satisfied with life and you just add reading on top of that, it complements not only your life, but your life complements your reading. If you aren't healthy already and you try to read, then the opposite is true and you will feel unsatisfied, which will cause frustration and will discourage you from reading in the future, which is not what you want. You want to feel inspired. So surround yourself in your life with stuff that inspires you, that keeps you healthy, and that keeps you satisfied. Therefore, you are able to implement reading and become known to yourself and others as a book reader. So here are just a few examples or a few points that you could perhaps implement into your life that could help you become a book reader to yourself. So the first one is read small amounts but frequently. This will kind of this will prevent you from getting bored. So actually, that is the second point. Stop reading as soon as you get bored. You don't want to do this for a chore. It should be fun. You should do nothing nothing you do in life should be a chore. Everything ideally should be fun. And if it is a chore, you are hoping that chore will become fun. But sometimes you have to do just stupidly, ridiculously small amounts of work for it to become fun. And maybe like just a sentence. You read a sentence and you get bored, but you've read a sentence, and that in itself is fun. Or maybe you can go a little further and say a paragraph. I read a paragraph. And you can just build your way up, but don't read past boredom. If you're bored, put the book away, come back to it later down in the day when you are more energized and motivated. So the third step, or not step, these are in order, but repeat to yourself throughout the day in your mind. Like so when you're in private, say to yourself out loud, I am a book reader. Just say it. I know it sounds cheesy, but it actually works. It's kind of like a power pose, if you guys know what that is, like where you stretch your arms out when you're alone and you feel anxious. You stretch your arms out, you take up space, you feel powerful. Therefore, when you're in public with people, you feel good about yourself. Same with reading. When you're in private, say it out loud. When you're in public, say it in your mind. I am a book reader. And the cheesier it sounds, the better off you will be. The more you have the more you're able to gain. The cheesier, the better. So another point is, if you want to be a book reader, it is read books in public. Like I said, the more awkward you feel, the more room you have to grow, which is good. Another point, surround yourself with people who also like to read. We associate with our surroundings and the people we surround ourselves with. If you surround yourselves with people who share the same goals and ambitions as you, the same interests, well, you further reinforce your identity. People affirm who we are. You can't simply do this on your own. You need to have people with you to reinforce that notion within you. So that's another point I was going to get to. Surround yourself with people who also like to read. You can go to a book club or online groups. You might have to put in effort. It might not be fun initially, but it will pay off. And lastly, and I've already said this, become healthy in other parts of your life so that when you pick up a book, you will have no choice but to see it as just another healthy action. And I guess I'm reading a script right now. I forgot to throw this in. I've already mentioned it, but nothing should be a chore in life. If you do chores, you are a slave. You are being servile to chores. Instead, you want to do everything for fun. So find a way to incorporate reading where it's fun. And the previous steps could kind of help you. Like I said, read in small amounts, quit as soon as you're bored, but frequently come back to it to reinforce that notion. This doesn't just apply to books. Like I said, it is everything in life. Imposter syndrome is the enemy, not laziness, not lack of willpower. It's imposter syndrome. So if you want to start, let's say, working out, there is willpower and laziness involved, but a huge portion of it is imposter syndrome. So a way to combat that, let's say you want to start running, is to simply just show up. Just get your running shoes on and go outside. You don't have to run. You can just sit there and stretch. But do that every day, and every day you do it, you're casting a vote that this is who you are. James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, talks about this. Every time you do an action, like trying to build a habit, don't think of it as in, like, okay, So every time you read a page, don't think, okay, I'm building this as a it's hard to explain. Like I'm building this as a habit. No, don't think about it like that. Think of it as I'm cultivating who I am. This is my personality is intertwined with this habit. That's why you build habits, to reinforce who you are, not simply to get good at doing something, because in the end, you're only doing that to serve your identity and your sense of self anyways. So why not cut out the middleman and be a book reader, be a runner. That will, and it's a feedback loop too. It's a cycle, but you can start at the end of the cycle that will allow you to come back and start running. Like people run so they feel like a runner, but if you already feel like a runner, it is easier to run, which in turn reinforces that identity, that notion within you that you are a runner, and it helps you run more. Same with books, same with pretty much everything in life. I've already mentioned this in a, sorry, okay, I was rewatching that. My voice gets kind of loud. I'm sorry about that. So I mentioned this in my previous video, be a master, not a slave of your world. You need, if you want to be a book reader, you need to have books serve you and not the other way around. If you are serving a book, it does not cast a vote that you're a book reader, because it's not serving you. You have a built up amount of like motivation each day, and if you just waste it all on reading, well, that's a vice. It doesn't help you. Reading should be a tool to make you feel inspired, and reading should help you with other stuff in your life, not simply just the knowledge you get from reading, which of course that's obvious, or maybe if you just do it for pleasure, the fun. If you're like me, I can't read for pleasure. I do it for the knowledge, the wisdom, self-help books, but you should not only read for that knowledge. You should do it so it helps you in other parts of your life. Maybe it helps you feel like you're productive, which gives you satisfaction, or maybe it calms you down. Maybe it could be a multitude of other stuff, but reading should serve you. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I wasn't expecting to go, what are we at right now? This is 12 minutes. Wow. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Please go watch my other video if you haven't seen it, Be a Master, Not a Slave of Your World. But yeah, if you made it this far, please leave a like. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. Goodbye.